The Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, SVR, has accused the European Union of orchestrating a systematic crackdown on dissenting political leaders across member states. Romania's presidential frontrunner, Calin Georgescu, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, and Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico have been named as primary targets. In a provocative press release dated March 4th, the SVR claims Brussels is using judicial and political measures to suppress conservative and nationalist voices, further straining an already fragile European political landscape. The controversy in Romania erupted after the annulment of the December 2024 presidential election, in which Georgescu emerged victorious in the first round. The Constitutional Court cancelled the runoff, citing alleged Russian interference, claims Moscow has dismissed as baseless. Last week, Georgescu was detained while filing his candidacy for the rescheduled May election. He faces charges of false funding statements, spreading misinformation, and links to fascist groups, all of which he denied.
It is not the desperation from here, is also from Brussels. They showed us that the system is working as much as it can. It is almost finished. We know is not only about being slaves in our country. It's about what's going on in Brussels. We have the proof from USA, from President Trump and Mr. Vance, that we are on the right path, that all this worldwide corruption will be revealed, and the U.S. sanctions will certainly clarify the situation in Romania.
Protests have since erupted in Bucharest, with hundreds rallying on Sunday and dozens gathering outside a courthouse on Monday. They want to ban Mr. Georgescu to stay in power forever, one protester declared, waving a Romanian flag.
We are here, and with God's help, to re-establish the second round of elections and for freedom. We are exhausted of stress and chaos. We are here for our freedom, and we wish from our heart Georgescu as president. We don't want to hear about their conspiracies.
The SVR alleges that the EU, backed by Romanian authorities, is using these charges to neutralize Georgescu, a conservative figure whose online campaign, later revealed to be financed by the National Liberal Party, posed a challenge to the establishment. Restrictions barring him from leaving the country or creating new social media accounts have fueled accusations of a public guillotine, as one supporter put it. The SVR report extends its accusations to Hungary, labeling it a bastion of European conservatism under Orban's leadership. It predicts that after Romania, the EU will target Hungary, especially ahead of parliamentary elections, in an effort to curb its nationalist agenda. This claim gains traction as Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó recently met U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio in Washington. During the meeting, Szijjártó criticized EU leaders for opposing Donald Trump's proposed peace plan for Ukraine, warning of a coordinated effort to undermine Trump administration. He aligned Hungary with U.S. calls for diplomacy over escalation.
I also informed him that there is an organization in Europe, especially in the western part of the country, against Donald Trump and against Donald Trump's peace plan. I also informed him that on the day after tomorrow, European prime ministers and heads of state will meet primarily to discuss peace talks in a different position. But I also informed him that Hungary does not make any decisions that pose a threat to the continuation of the war. We are absolutely committed to maintaining peace and peace talks.
Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico, a known ally of Orban, is also implicated. The SVR suggests that his pro-Russian stance and resistance to EU policies have made him a target, though it provides no details on specific actions against him. Georgescu, Orban and Fico represent a growing conservative bloc that the SVR claims Brussels is determined to dismantle. The report hints at a potential shift in US policy under a Trump presidency, suggesting that new White House leadership could weaken EU efforts. This aligns with recent US actions, including the suspension of USAID funds, previously linked to political interference, and vocal support for Georgescu from figures like Elon Musk and Vice President J.D. Vance. At the Munich Security Conference, Vance condemned the Romanian election annulment, calling it a blow to European democracy.
If your democracy can be destroyed with a few $100,000 of digital advertising from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with.
Moscow's narrative portrays the EU as a totalitarian liberal elite, desperate to prevent a conservative resurgence with international support growing for Georgescu, Orban and Fico. And it's not just Moscow. These three leaders also have been very vocal about EU's meddling in domestic politics of their respective nations.